When a beloved cat takes its final breath, the silence in the room often feels too vast to bear. For many, that silence is filled with grief. But according to the insights of Edgar Cayce and countless spiritual traditions, something extraordinary is unfolding at that very moment. The soul of your cat is not extinguished. It begins a sacred journey that mirrors in mysterious ways the passages described for human souls. In those first moments, there is not darkness, but a sudden sense of lightness, an unshackling from the body's weight, a freedom from pain, and a return to the essence of being. Many near-death experiences, NDEs, reported by humans, describe a burst of radiant light, a gentle warmth embracing them as if creation itself was whispering, "Welcome home." When it comes to cats and spirituality, the stories shared by grieving owners echo the same truth. Pets, too, seem to cross into a realm of extraordinary brightness and peace. Cayce often spoke of the silver cord, the mysterious thread mentioned in Ecclesiastes binding soul to body throughout earthly life. For your cat, this cord represents the sacred connection between the physical form you held in your arms and the divine spark that God placed within it. At the moment of death, this silver cord loosens and dissolves, and the cat's soul begins to perceive reality in ways beyond what we can imagine. This symbolism runs deep across traditions in the Tibetan Book of the Dead. The cord is seen as the lifeline of consciousness, while Christian mystics saw it as a strand of divine grace. Its severing does not mean an ending, but a release into God's keeping. In those first hours, many owners describe uncanny experiences. Some wake to the soft press of paws against the blanket as though their cat had curled beside them one last time. Others hear faint purring in the night, though no cat is physically present. These are not hallucinations born of grief. They are what animal communicators and spiritual healers often describe as early after-death signs. The soul, still hovering close, reaches out across the veil to reassure its companion. "I am safe. I am not gone. I am with you still." But just like people, cats vary in their ability to let go. Some who were deeply bonded, who spent their days curled in the same chair by your side, may linger in a state of confusion. They hover near their familiar home, watching their loved one weep, trying to nudge them with unseen whiskers. For them, the first days are not only a release, but also a tender reluctance to leave. This mirrors what Cayce described for human souls who clung to earthly attachments. They must learn gently and gradually to accept their new state. In dreams, some owners have reported seeing their departed cats sitting calmly, eyes glowing like lanterns, as if reminding them that separation is but an illusion. This stage reveals something essential about the spiritual meaning of cats. They are not merely pets, but spiritual messengers, mirrors of God's gentleness, sent into our lives with a divine assignment to comfort, to heal, to love, without conditions. When they pass, that assignment does not vanish. Instead, it changes form. The cat's behavior in spirit, their presence in dreams, the sudden warmth that floods your chest as you remember them becomes their way of fulfilling their role beyond the material plane. These experiences are sacred signs, whispers, divine intervention, reminding us that love never dies. One woman shared how on the night her tabby passed, she woke to see a flicker of light in the hallway. Following it, she felt a strong scent of her cat's fur, warm, comforting, unmistakable. The next morning, a small feather rested on the pillow where her cat had once slept. She took it as a message not only from her beloved companion, but also from God, assuring her that the bond was eternal. Such mystical animals continue to weave themselves into our lives, offering us hope that the rainbow bridge is not a myth, but a metaphor for reunion. What lesson can we gather from these first days? It is that death is not absence. It is transition. Cats remind us that the spiritual awakening we long for is not found only in distant heavens, but here in the symbols scattered around us. Dreams, scents, whispers, and subtle touches. Their passing urges us to see with new eyes, to trust that God's creation extends far beyond what we perceive, and that all life is held tenderly in His embrace. For those left behind, this knowledge becomes a balm. Grief remains, but it is softened by the awareness that your cat is not lost. Rather, it is awakening to colors more vivid than any it saw on earth, to a harmony more profound than its own purr. And even as it journeys onward, its soul still circles close like a guardian in the shadows, waiting for the moment when you too will cross into the great light of reunion. As days turn into weeks, the cat's spirit begins to move more freely, adjusting to its new existence. This is when it enters what Cayce and mystics alike described as the realm of recognition, a place of healing, reunion, and education where the deeper mysteries of soul life unfold. If the first days are about letting go and reminding us of eternal bonds, then the next stage is about discovery, what it means for your cat's soul to remember who it has always been. As the first weeks pass and your cat's spirit grows accustomed to its freedom from the body, a new phase begins, one that Cayce described as a realm of recognition. It is here, between the 2nd and 6th months after physical death, that the soul of your cat encounters what words can scarcely hold a homecoming more radiant than sunlight on water. A circle of companionship woven through lifetimes, and an education not of the mind, but of the heart. Spiritual traditions across the world have hinted at this stage. The Tibetan Book of the Dead speaks of bardos, where the soul is guided toward clarity. Christian mystics envisioned animals as part of God's eternal creation, praising Him beyond human comprehension. Edgar Cayce, in his readings, described this period as a deepening of the soul's awareness when lessons are absorbed not through thought, but through vibration. For a mystic cat, this is the moment it awakens fully to the divine love that has always held it. What does recognition mean for a cat's soul? It is not simply reunion with familiar places or memories. It is meeting again the souls of companions. Other animals, perhaps. Other cats it once groomed or wrestled with, or even human family members who had passed before. Owners sometimes dream vividly during this period. A departed cat curled once more on their lap, eyes glowing with peace joined by pets long gone. These visions are not random. They are glimpses into that realm of recognition where bonds are restored and celebrated. Consider the story of Daniel, who lost 2 cats within 5 years. A few months after the second cat passed, he dreamt of walking into a vast meadow filled with animals. Both of his cats approached him side by side, radiating a joy he had never seen in them while alive. He woke with tears, sensing not only their happiness, but also the presence of something larger, God's message that love transcends death. For Daniel, grief softened into reverence. The dream became a spiritual awakening, a sign that the rainbow bridge is not fantasy but sacred reality. This stage is also one of healing. Cats, like people, sometimes carry wounds from their earthly lives. Illness, abandonment, fear. In the spiritual dimensions, healing does not come through medicine, but through what Cayce described as vibrational therapy. Imagine soundless harmonies, colors alive with intelligence, patterns of light that mend what was broken. Cats and spirituality intertwine here. Your companion's soul is bathed in divine frequencies, restoring its essence to wholeness. Animal communicators have described receiving messages from cats during this phase. One healer recounted hearing from a client's recently departed Siamese, "I am learning to be calm again. I am no longer afraid of the hands that once struck me." Such communications remind us that even pets experience purification, a gentle release of earthly pain so that their soul may rest in peace. During this stage, cats also enter what could be called soul education. This is not the kind of learning we know, no books, no lectures, no tests. Rather, it is immersion in love. They remember that every purr, every nudge against your hand, every long gaze held spiritual meaning. Cats are spiritual pets, and in this realm they begin to perceive their role as healers, companions, and silent teachers. To them, kindness and loyalty are not accidents, but divine assignments fulfilled. Time for them does not unfold as months on a calendar. In the eternal now, a single moment may feel like an entire season of recognition. For owners, it may be months before they sense their cat's presence again. For the cat, there is no delay, only unfolding joy. This is why so many grieving people report vivid dreams or synchronicities, numbers, feathers, sudden scents of fur several months after a pet has passed. It is not coincidence. It is the cat's way of saying, I'm healed, I am whole, and I am with you still. A small lesson lies here for those of us who remain. Grief need not blind us to the signs of comfort that God places along our path. Just as cats learn to rest in divine harmony, so too can we learn to listen, to pray, and to open ourselves to the whispers of the unseen. A candle lit in remembrance, a verse read aloud from Psalms, or a quiet meditation at dusk can become a bridge between dimensions. Cats in dream meaning often carry messages of reassurance. Their presence is God's gentle reminder that love never dies. To see with spiritual eyes is to understand that our pets are more than animals. They are mystic pets, mirrors of divine tenderness. Their healing in the 2nd through 6th months is not separate from our own. When we sense their peace, our hearts too begin to mend. When we notice the sacred signs, they send a sudden warmth, a flicker of light, a new cat arriving at just the right moment. We recognize that the veil between worlds is thinner than we believed. As this stage draws toward its close, your cat's soul has remembered its place in the greater tapestry. It has been healed, restored, and gently educated by divine presence. Now it prepares for something even deeper: integration. The months to come will reveal its soul blueprint, the higher design of its existence, and the choices that lie before it. If recognition is reunion, then the next phase is transformation, when your cat's soul begins to step into the full mystery of its eternal destiny. As the 7th month approaches in the soul's journey, your cat has already remembered, healed, and learned in realms beyond our sight. Yet, the journey is not finished. Edgar Cayce's insights, along with echoes from scripture and mystical traditions, suggest that in these final months of the first year, the soul enters a stage of integration and decision. For cats, these months reveal destiny, whether to return again in another body, to continue as a guardian spirit, or to rest in higher dimensions of divine service. This period has been described as standing before a council of light, though unlike a human tribunal, it is not judgmental. It is more like being enfolded in a circle of unconditional love, where angels, guides, and sometimes the souls of other animals assist the cat in recognizing its next step. In this holy council, the question is not, what did you do wrong, but rather, where will your love flow next? Some owners sense this shift without realizing it. They may notice their grief lifting slightly around the 8th or 9th month, replaced by an almost unexplainable peace. It is as if the cat's soul, now steady and luminous, is whispering, I am ready for what comes next. Cayce often said that souls, both human and animal, retain free will even beyond the grave. This is a profound mystery. Free will means your cat can choose under God's guidance, whether to incarnate again or to serve in other realms as a mystical animal companion to those still on Earth. One widow named Marjorie shared that 10 months after losing her cat of 18 years, she felt called to visit a rescue shelter. There, she found a kitten with the same unusual marking, a crescent of white fur under its chin. When she held it, the kitten curled against her chest in the exact way her old cat once did. She wept, sensing not coincidence but divine intervention. A miracle pet returned through God's mercy. Was this reincarnation, or was it the echo of her old companion guiding her to love again? We cannot say with certainty, but the symbolism is rich. Love does not vanish. It reshapes. For other cats, the choice may be to remain in the spiritual dimension, serving as unseen protectors. Stories abound of owners who feel their late cat's presence months after passing gentle paw steps in the hallway, a sudden warmth across their feet at night, or dreams of the cat standing watch. These are not trivial comforts. They are spiritual cat messages, sacred signs of divine companionship across the veil. Such experiences confirm what Revelation declares: all of creation praises God and serves His purposes even beyond physical life. The rainbow bridge, so often spoken of, becomes more than a sentimental image in this stage. It is a symbol of passage of covenant between the visible and invisible. For the cat's soul, months 9 through 12 mark a crossing out of its most recent identity and into the wider ocean of spirit. One man, David, reported a dream where he saw his late cat walking across a radiant bridge of light, pausing only to look back at him with eyes filled with peace. He woke with the message burning in his heart. I am safe, I am home, and we will meet again. The small lesson in this stage is simple yet profound. Our animals are not trapped in death. They are participants in God's vast design. Their destiny is not random, but part of a divine pattern that also touches our lives. Understanding this can lift the weight of despair. Grief, while real, becomes intertwined with hope. You begin to see your cat not as lost, but as evolving, choosing with free will. Guided by divine love. How to serve next. This opens us to a new perspective that every bond we share with animals is eternal, woven into our own soul's path. Our cats may return to us in new bodies or remain close as mystic pets guiding our hearts or ascend further to participate in cosmic service. In every possibility, love is the thread. Cats and spirituality meet here, showing us that the soul's destiny is both personal and universal. As the 12th month closes, your cat has completed its first circle beyond life. The silver cord was released, the healing completed, the education received, and the destiny chosen. What remains is love, pure, unbroken, eternal. And for us, who still walk this earth these months, remind us to listen for the whispers of God's messages carried by mystical animals who continue to teach us patience, tenderness, and faith. Pause for a moment. Reflect on your own soul. Just as your cat's spirit has crossed thresholds of recognition and decision, so too are you invited to consider your destiny. Where is your love flowing? How are you allowing God's sacred signs to guide your journey? These are not abstract questions. They are invitations to healing, to spiritual awakening, to renewed trust that life after death is not the end, but the continuation of divine companionship. If this message has touched your heart, if you have felt the presence of your own rainbow bridge cat, I invite you to stay connected with us, like this video. If it brought comfort, subscribe for more explorations of mystic pets and spiritual awakening, and share your own experiences in the comments below. Together, we form a community of seekers guided by love, healing, and the eternal mystery of God's creation.